Hello. Okay, so we are going to read Act 2 of The Taming of the Shrew today. This is by far probably my favorite act in this play because it's when Catherine and Petruchio actually get a chance to talk it out, and I think it is hilarious. But before that happens, we have to see what else is going on. Okay, so I'm going to read the synopsis of the scene. Don't forget, for you to be reading it, either you have one of these books, which I know a few of you have gone by the school and picked up your Taming of the Shrew book. Most of the copies of this, I have some in my classroom. Many of them are in Miss Robinson's classroom as well. But anyway, and I think Mr. Brigando will go into our classes and get them off the back shelves if you want your copy. If you don't have that, you can go to shakespeare.folger.edu to access this play. And you want to go ahead and get to Act 2, Scene 1, okay? And then you can read along with me. Okay, so in our little synopsis, which of course every act and scene gives a little synopsis, it tells us that the scene opens up with Catherine and Bianca having a sisterly fight. Baptista stops Catherine from abusing Bianca and receives a visit from Petruchio, who presents Hortensio, who's disguised as the schoolmaster, and Gremio, who introduces Lucentio, also disguised, and Tranio, who's impersonating Lucentio, announces he wishes to marry Bianca, and Petruchio announces he wants to marry Catherine. Baptista insists that Petruchio must get Catherine's love. He doubts very highly this is going to work out, so he's kind of trying to give Petruchio a heads up from the beginning that, you know, this is a Herculean task to get this woman to agree with you. And then Baptista insisting that Catherine loves him, but that the couple have, Petruchio and Catherine have their discussion, and it's all about wordplay and puns, and, you know, you'll see. Then Petruchio tells Baptista that Catherine has said that she loves him, but she's still going to act like she doesn't out in public. She's a little shy. Catherine's not shy. That's weird. Anyway, and then Catherine's wedding is arranged, and Baptista hears the offers of Gremio and Tranio that they make for Bianca. And of course, Tranio outbids Gremio. And he's awarded Bianca, provided that his dad Vincentio shows up and will guarantee the dowry. A dowry is the amount that a family would give the family who had the daughter. So if his family says, "Hey, we're going to give you a lot of money for your daughter," well, then that's who Baptista is going to choose. Because remember, marriage in this era is a monetary transaction. It has nothing to do with love. It has nothing to do with choice. It has everything to do with finances and property. Okay. And so then Tranio is going to need somebody to impersonate Vincentio, because Vincentio, of course, is not here. He has not consented to his son Lucentio to marry anybody. So all that's going on in this scene. This is like one act, one scene, and it's huge. It's a lot. You'll see, okay? Okay, so we're starting Act 2, Scene 1 with Catherine and Bianca. They come in, and we get to see these two sisters interact, much like many sisters, I'm afraid.
To make a bondmaid and a slave of me, that I disdain, but for these other gauds, unbind my hands, I'll pull them off myself. Yea, all my raiment to my petticoat, or what you will command me will I do, so well I know my duty to my elders.
Of all thy suitors here I charge thee, tell whom thou lovest best, see thou dissemble not.
Believe me.
Let me just pause and make sure we understand what's going on here. So Bianca comes in and says, "Good sister, wrong me not, nor wrong yourself, to make a bondmaid and a slave of me, but for these other goods, unbind my hands." Catherine has tied Bianca up. Yeah, so think of the times that you and your siblings have done kind of slightly terrible things to each other. I mean, we've had people punch people and people have to get surgery because of it in our household. Oopsie. So, like, sometimes siblings aren't great. Yeah, it's not perfect. We've had people send people downstairs in, like, boxes and things, and we've had all sorts of fun events. Siblings, man, it is rough. So, Catherine has tied Bianca's hands because she wants to know who she's interested in. That's funny. You would think that Catherine, she keeps talking about not caring about marriage and people getting married and stuff, but she's tied Bianca up because she wants to know what guy Bianca is after. Interesting.
Sister, of all the men alive, I never yet beheld that special face which I could fancy more than any other.
Lillian, thou liest. It's not Hortensio.
If you affect him, sister, here I swear I'll plead for you myself, but you shall have him.
Oh, then belike you fancy riches more. You will have Gremio to keep you fair.
Is it for him you do envy me so? Nay, then you jest. And now I well perceive you have but jested with me all this while. I prithee, sister Kate, untie my hand.
She
Just
hits
then
her.
all the rest was so.
Okay, so this scene escalates really quite a bit quickly. So Bianca says, you know, I don't like any of the men better than any of the others. And Catherine says, minion, thou liest. So she calls her sister a minion, and this isn't like the cute little cuddly minions in the one movie. No, this is like minion of hell, probably. You lie. And then she wants to know, is it Hortensio? And Bianca's like, no, I don't really care. Like, if you like him, you can have him. And then Catherine's like, maybe you like riches more than, you know, handsomeness. Because Gremio, the old guy, has a lot of money. Probably you want him. And Bianca's like, oh, is it him you want? Yeah, like, you know, for sure, you can have him. I mean, like, whatever, like, I don't care. Catherine hits her. Like, hits her, okay? And then, Catherine says, oh, like she's mad at her. If that be just, then all the rest was so. So you're just messing with me and I don't like it. I want a straight answer. Who do you love? Right now, Baptista, the dad, comes in. I will tell you at any point that a parent enters and you happen to have a sibling tied up and you're hitting them, probably this isn't the best situation for you to be in. Some of you probably can completely relate. Okay.
How now, Dame Wench, cruise this insolence. Bianca, stand aside. Poor girl, she weeps. Go
He
ply
unties her.
thy needle. Meddle not with her. For shame, thou hilding of a devilish spirit. Why dost thou wrong her that did ne'er wrong thee? When did she cross thee with a bitter word?
Her silence flouts me, and I'll be revenged.
What's in my sight? Bianca, get thee in.
Will you not suffer me? Nay, now I see she is your treasure. She must have a husband. I must dance barefoot on her wedding day, and for your love to her lead apes in hell. Talk not to me. I will go sit and weep till I can find occasion of revenge.
Was ever gentleman thus grieved as I? Oh, but who comes here?
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what Catherine says there. So Baptista comes in, and right away, as all parents would, you know, if the one sibling has the other sibling tied up and you're like punching that other sibling, all parents are going to rush to the side of the sibling who's tied up and getting punched. That's just a fact, okay? And so, and you know, he's like, oh no, poor girl, she's weeping, she's crying. He unties her, and he tells Bianca, go ply thy needle, meddle not with your sister. And to Catherine, he calls her a hilding of a devilish spirit. So you spawn of Satan is kind of what he's saying to her. Why do you wrong your sister who never wronged you? Okay, now listen, if you have siblings, what you know is there is not a sibling who has not wronged another sibling. Something in the very nature of being born in the same household, wanting the attention, wanting the stuff. They're always around. I mean, you just wrong each other occasionally. That's a fact. And then Catherine says, her quietness, her silence flouts me and I'll be revenged. And she runs at her sister. And Baptista's like, oh my gosh, good Lord, Bianca, get out of here before she hurts you. She seriously might hurt you. And then Catherine says, will you not suffer me? Do you not care about me, Dad? She says, nay, now I see. She is your treasure. She must have a husband. I must dance barefoot on her wedding day. This would be terrible. Like if you're the older sister, you know, and probably she's just 2 or 3 years older than Bianca, but if you're the older sister, your younger sister's supposed to dance on your wedding day. Like, you're the one who's supposed to get married first. So Catherine is, I mean, as much as she's not really like acting like she wants to get married, and as much as she's kind of scaring all of the nearby men, she seems to be horrified at this idea that she will be dancing, that she'll be dancing barefoot, you know, without a home, without property on her sister's wedding day. And she says, and for your love to her, Dad, I must lead apes in hell, which I think is like a fancy way of saying become an old maid. Like you're not worrying about getting me married, and so I'm gonna end up not having a husband. Your fault, Dad. Talk not to me. I will go sit and weep till I find occasion for revenge. I'm gonna get my sister back. Now, you know, it's kind of funny because I think a lot of times whenever there's sibling rivalry, don't we blame the other sibling for the rivalry? Like we all love our parents. So if another sibling seems to be a favorite, don't we oftentimes blame that sibling for the fact that he or she is the favorite? Now, the thing I will again say, because I've already talked about this a little bit, I feel like whenever there are big issues between siblings, I feel like that's a bit of the parental responsibility. Parents are supposed to love all of their kiddos. Yes, sometimes they relate to some better than others. You know, I find myself sometimes relating well to the kiddos of mine who maybe like some of the same hobbies, or they have the same sense of humor, or they have the same general personality. And sometimes that's a lot of different people. Like there's no one kid that has all of that stuff in our family. We have 6 kiddos in the family, right? So there's not one, you know, there are maybe 1 or 2 that have a similar sense of humor. There are 1 or 2 that have similar interests. There are 1 or 2 that have a similar personality type. So, you know, we just kind of get along as best we can, right? But the parents should be helping the siblings have good relationships between them, and parents should not clearly have a favorite, because that'll create some friction and some bad feelings between those siblings. So I feel like Baptista is a lot to blame, but again, Baptista is a single dad trying to raise 2 adolescent females. I mean, this is terrible. I feel bad for the guy. So obviously he hasn't done a good job, but who could have? You know, what do you do? Okay. So Baptista's talking about, oh my gosh, has any man in the world ever had it as bad as me? Well, then there's a knock on the door. I wonder who it could be. Everybody, Gremio, Lucentio's disguised as the schoolmaster, Petruchio, Hortensio's disguised as the music teacher, and then Tranio, who's acting like he's Lucentio. They all come in. There's a big herd of men that come in. Okay, and that's where we're starting.
Good morrow, neighbour Baptista.
Good morrow, neighbour Gremio. God save you, gentlemen.
And you, good sir. Pray, have you not a daughter called Katharina, fair and virtuous?
I have a daughter, sir, called Katharina.
You are too blunt. Go to it orderly.
You wrong me, Signor Gremio. Give me leave. I am a gentleman of Verona, sir, that hearing of her beauty and her wit, her affability and bashful modesty, her wondrous qualities and mild behaviour, am bold to show myself a forward guest within your house, to make mine eye the witness of that report which I so oft have heard. And for an entrance to my entertainment, I do present you with a man of mine, cunning in music and the mathematics, to instruct her fully in those sciences whereof I know she is not ignorant. Accept of him, or else you do me wrong. His name is Licio, born in Mantua.
So, you're welcome, sir, and he for your good sake. But for my daughter Catherine, this I know, she is not for your turn, the more my grief.
I see you do not mean to part with her, or else you like not of my company.
Mistake me not, I speak but as I find. Whence are you, sir? What may I call your name?
Petruchio is my name, Antonio's son, a man well known throughout all Italy.
I know him well. You are welcome for his sake.
Saving your tale, Petruchio, I pray let us that our poor petitioners speak too. Bacare, you are marvellous forward.
Oh, pardon me, Signor Gremio, I would fain be doing.
I doubt it not, sir, but you will curse your wooing. Neighbour, this is a gift, very grateful, I am sure of it. To express the like kindness myself, that have been more kindly beholding to you than any, freely give unto you this young scholar, that hath been long studying at Rheims, as cunning in Greek, Latin, and other languages, as the other in music and mathematics. His name is Cambio. Pray accept his service.
Sir.
Okay, so let's pause for a second and talk about Petruchio introducing himself to Baptista the father. So Petruchio right away says, "Pray, have you not a daughter called Caterina, fair and virtuous?" Baptista's like, "I have a daughter, sir, called Caterina." Excuse me. And Gremio tells Petruchio, like, "You're playing it too fast. Like, honestly, nobody calls her sweet and virtuous and kind, and nobody says that." Petruchio says, no. Listen, I've heard of her beauty. I've heard of her affability, her modesty, her wondrous qualities. Where would you ever hear of Caterina's wondrous qualities? Nobody talks about her wondrous qualities. Petruchio is flattering a lot right now, but it's a flattery that's not even believable because nobody says this stuff about Caterina. Well, Baptista says, "I mean, you're welcome here. Like, you can come into my house. But my daughter, she's not for you. And the more is my grief. Like, I wish she were, buddy, but trust me, she ain't." Petruchio says, "Oh, you don't want her to marry. I see." And Baptista's like, no. Like, no, that's not what I was saying at all. Who are you? Wait a second. Who are you? Who's your family? Back in this era, of course, they all seem to know each other. So if you're nobly born and you're in a big city, evidently, kind of, they're related to other people. They know each other. So he says, "I'm Petruchio, Antonio's son, a man well known throughout all Italy." And Baptista's like, "Oh yeah, I know him. All right, cool." And so then Petruchio presents, I believe Petruchio presented Litio. Yeah, he presented Hortensio, who is Litio. So in the play, it's going to be it's going to say the line as Litio's, and it's like Hortensio in disguise as Litio. He's going to be like a music teacher. So he presents him to Baptista and says, "I want to court your daughter, Catherine." And then Gremio pipes in there and he's like, hey, me too. I've got a schoolmaster I want to present to you. And he presents Lucentio, who is disguised as Cambio. And so he's supposed to teach her all sorts of wonderful learning. Okay.
1,000 thanks, Signor Gremio. Welcome, good Cambio. But gentle sir, methinks you walk like a stranger. May I be so bold to know the cause of your coming?
He's talking to Tranio.
Pardon me, sir. The boldness is mine own. That being a stranger in this city here, do make myself a suitor to your daughter, unto Bianca, fair and virtuous. Nor is your firm resolve unknown to me in the preferment of the eldest sister. This liberty is all that I request, that upon knowledge of my parentage, I may have welcome amongst the rest that woo, and free access and favour as the rest. And toward the education of your daughters, I here bestow a simple instrument, and this small packet of Greek and Latin books. If you accept them, then their worth is great.
Lucentio is your name, of whence, I pray?
Of Peter, sir, son to Vincentia.
A mighty man of Pisa by report. I know him well. You are very welcome, sir. Take you the lute, and you the set of books. You shall go see your pupils presently. Follow within!
Okay.
Sir, lead these gentlemen to my door.
So the two ones who Litio and Cambio, which is Hortensio and Lucentio, they're going to go and see their pupils.
And tell them both these are their tutors. Bid them use them well.
They leave.
We will go walk a little in the orchard and then to dinner. You are passing welcome, and so I pray you all to think yourselves.
Signor Baptista, my business asketh haste, and every day I cannot come to woo. You knew my father well, and in him me, left sole heir to all his lands and goods, which I have bettered rather than decreased. Then tell me, if I get your daughter's love, what dowry shall I have with her to wife?
After my death, the 1/2 of my lands, and in possession 20,000 crowns.
And for that dowry I'll assure her of her widowhood, be it that she survive me, in all my lands and leases whatsoever. Let specialties be therefore drawn between us, that covenants may be kept on either hand.
Aye, when the special thing is well obtained, that is her love, for that is all in all.
Why, that is nothing, for I tell you, Father, I am as peremptory as she proud-minded, and where two raging fires meet together, they do consume the thing that feeds their fury. Though little fire grows great with little wind, yet extreme gusts will blow out fire and all. So I to her, and so she yields to me, for I am rough and woo not like a babe.
Well, mayst thou woo, and happy be thy speed, but be thou armed for some unhappy words.
I to the proof as mountains are for winds, that shakes not though they blow perpetually.
Okay, so Petruchio said, hey, like, I get it that everybody else is kind of taking their time and wooing, taking a lot of time to woo, but I don't have a lot of time. I'd like to kind of, get this whole Catherine situation settled. So, like, what's the dowry if I get her to marry me? If she ends up loving me, what do I get? And Baptista says, half of my land at the point that I die, and then 20,000 crowns. So this is a great amount of money. So Petruchio is like, all right, that'll work. And then Petruchio says, of course, if she were widowed, she would get everything of mine. And, let's shake on it, buddy. So if I get her to love me, then I'll be able to marry her. And Baptista's like, yeah, but man, you got to get her to like you first. And I don't know. I don't think that's going to work out. Petruchio says, oh, we're like two raging fires. Whenever they meet, they consume. And so don't worry. This is going to be great. This is going to work out. He also says, so I to her, and so she yields to me. For I am rough and woo not like a babe. I'm not just some young whippersnapper new to adulthood and everything. I'm a man. I am established. I'm not like some young kid who's going to be easily like walked upon by this woman. And so Baptista's like, whew, good luck. Be ready for some strong words. And he's like, no worries here. And then we hear a lot of loud noises and shrieking. I wonder what could have happened. Hortensio, or, dressed up as Litio, comes in, and his head is bleeding. Oopsie.
How now, my friend? Why dost thou look so pale?
For fear, I promise you, if I look pale.
What? Will my daughter prove a good musician?
I think she'll sooner prove a soldier. Anne may hold with her, but never lute.
Why, then thou canst not break her to the lute.
I know, for she hath broke the lute to me. I did but tell her she mistook her for frets and bowed her hand to teach her for fingering, when with a most impatient devilish spirit, for frets call you these, quoth she, I'll fume with them. And with that word she struck me on the head. And through the instrument my pate made way, and there I stood amazed for a while, as on a pillory, looking through the lute, while she did call me rascal for fiddler and to twangling jack with 20 such vile terms, as had she studied to misuse me so.
Now, by the world, it is a lusty wench. I love her 10 times more than e'er I did. Oh, how I long to have some chat with her.
Well, go with me, and be not so discomfited. Proceed in practice with my younger daughter. She's apt to learn and thankful for good turns. Signor Petruchio, will you go with us, or shall I send my daughter Kate to you?
I pray you do. I will attend her here and woo her with some spirit when she comes.
Okay, let's pause there for a second. So Hortensio dressed up as Litio, he comes in, his head is bleeding. It turns out he told Catherine, or Kate, that she messed up. He's trying to teach her, I guess, like the lute, which is kind of like, I think, a small guitar. and she messed something up. She messed up on the frets, her fingers on the frets. And he tells her that she has her fingers wrong, and she like takes the lute and like hits him with it. So that's awesome, I think. Maybe a little bit, violent, and, she's kind of tearing things up, but it is pretty funny. So anyway, so Hortensio's like, good luck, buddy, because yikes. Petruchio says, after hearing about that she hit Hortensio on the head with the lute, Petruchio says, oh, now by the world, it is a lusty wench. He's like, yeah, she's high-spirited. I like that. He says, I love her 10 times more than ever I did. Oh, how I long to have some chat with her. Love to have a conversation with her. And then Baptista's like, whew, yeah, we'll go over here. You can, Lydio, sorry, buddy, that must have been rough. You can teach my younger daughter. She doesn't hit people in the head with instruments. And then he's like, Petruchio, you want me to send Kate in to talk to you? And Petruchio's like, yeah, for sure. Send her on in. So he has a plan of how he's going to woo her.
Why, then I'll tell her plain she sings as sweetly as a nightingale. Say that she frowned. I'll say she looks as clear as morning roses newly washed with dew. Say she be mute and will not speak a word. Then I'll commend her volubility, and say she uttereth piercing eloquence. If she do bid me pack, I'll give her thanks as though she bid me stay by her a week. If she deny to wed, I'll crave the day when I shall ask the banns and when be married. But here she comes, and now Petruchio speak.
Okay, so his whole plan, his strategy, and please understand, this is a strategy, this is battle, he is on attack, okay? So his strategy is, whatever she says, he's going to try to kind of say the opposite. He figures she's not going to be wanting to, she's not going to buy into this whole idea of somebody wants to marry her very easily. So he says, if she rails at me, then I'll tell her she sings like a nightingale. That's nice. If she frowns at me, I'll say she looks clear as the morning dew. If she's mute, she won't speak a word. I'll commend her on her volubility and say she utters the most piercing eloquence. So if she's like sitting there just staring at him, he's going to tell her how amazingly eloquent she is. If she bid me pack, like she wants me out of here, I'll give her thanks as though she bid me stay here for a week. If she denies to wed, I'll ask her, what's the date going to be? So if she's like, no, I won't marry you, he's going to be like, awesome. What date do you want to marry me on? No, I won't marry you. Great. So what date? Tuesday or Thursday? What do you think? No, I'm not going to marry you. Wednesday? Is that what you mean? Like he's going to just be completely counter whatever she says and does. I'm not sure about this as a method. We're going to have to see. Okay, so I'm going to pause it right now because I really want us to get this whole scene with these two people together. Okay, so I'm going to pause it and we'll start back in a second.